right. Biden is stuttering and stammering. And yet the whole world wants us to pretend, or at least that the vote blue no matter who crowd wants to pretend to the whole world that Biden's just fine. Now, I'm going to play just 11 seconds of a video of this old man, our president, stammering and stuttering all over the place. This is a leader who can't put together a coherent sentence. So let's go ahead and play this video. And folks, I mean, to the Biden family, I know you're like scumbag neoliberal politicians and a political family, but Jesus Christ, don't you guys love each other? Or is that just like a foreign concept? Because this is absolutely embarrassing. Listen closely.
After I signed the Pacanalalalac Act into law, I handed the pen that I signed it with the tradition of the most responsible for the legislation. After I signed the
Pacanalalalac Act. That's not how he worded it, but that's how they look. Anal AC Act. So hey, double anal, right? Up the wazoo. The story of the Biden-Harris administration.
Pacanalalalac Act into law. I handed the pen that I signed it with the tradition.
Worcestershire sauce. One more time.
The most responsible for the legislation. After I signed the Pacanalalalac Act into law, I handed the pen that I signed it with the tradition of the most responsible for the legislation.
Now, how do you think other normal people are going to respond to something like that? Well, there's always going to be the Biden crowd that are going to say, "Well, Biden is just having those gaffes. It's not a thing." But yet, when you have people in the intelligence agencies then stoke up more fear. Listen to this wise man, part of the FBI. You know him, you love him. Shout out again to Hotspot. We have James Comey talking about, I don't care how you feel about Biden, you must vote for him because Donald Trump.
If Donald Trump is reelected, I mean, when you think about a second Trump administration, what do you think the implications would be for the FBI?
Oh, serious for the Justice Department and the FBI, because Trump is coming for those institutions. He knows their power, and I think he has regrets that he didn't work hard enough to corrupt them last time. So he's coming for them, and that's a danger for all Americans. He's going to put people in positions in those organizations. He didn't have all-stars the last time. He'll have the bottom of the barrel this time, but people who will want to do his will, and that should worry every American. This election matters. Because of a reason like that, people have to participate. You cannot sit on the sideline. I don't care how you feel about Joe Biden. You must vote for
You must vote for him. Why should people vote for Joe Biden? Well, the Democrats are going to say that Biden cares about black people, that he cares about Muslims and Arabs, he cares about Jews, he cares about Latinos and migrants. They say that he's going to care about women and their right to choose. They say that he's going to care about the LGBTQ plus community. He says that they're always going to say that he cares. Listen, Donald Trump's got his problems. And for that, yes, there's a treasure trove of them. However, people, and listen very carefully for this, the reason why things are as effed up as they are is because of people like Joe Biden. Joe Biden, who made a career of basically being on the wrong side of history. This is the man. This is the guy who said he'd gladly prostitute himself to corporations. All right. And that's an insult to sex workers because, unfortunately, this guy, he really gave up the wazoo and also gave up the American people to the corporations. Reason why student debt is what it is. Biden sided with the credit card corporations. I'll make it that way. Reason why we have the most incarcerated people in the world. Oh, well, Biden is the writer and architect of the Crime Bill Act. That was signed by a good old horn dog himself, Bill Clinton. Now, Joe Biden was against busing and desegregation. Joe Biden didn't want his white kids to be with black kids. All right, so take that. Everyone say, oh, well, Biden marched against the civil rights movement. No, he didn't. He worked with Republican segregationists. Joe Biden was against a woman's right to choose. You know that, right? All this talk, oh, Biden cares about a woman's right to choose. No, he doesn't. He was against it. He voted for the war in Iraq. So he's always been on the wrong side of history. But yet it's Trump. Trump's the bad guy. Look, I don't want to see Biden get elected, and I sure as hell don't want to see Trump get elected. We have the lowest common denominator. We have scraped the bottom of the barrel. And this is the best we could come up with. The orange Cheeto and the senile old goat. Two old men fighting over a cold bowl of soup. This is our fate, our luck in life, to have the lowest of the low seek the highest office of the land. It didn't have to be this way. But yet, surprise, surprise. Uh-oh. Democrats vote blue no matter who. Biden risks losing black voters over Gaza. What's going on here? Well, as it stands right now, signs are emerging that President Biden may lose support of black voters come November over support for Israel over the war with Hamas in Gaza. A March poll by In Our Own Voice, National Black Women's Reproductive Justice Agenda, with Periundum, found that 24% of black voters identified the Israel-Hamas war as extremely important ahead of the election. 1 in 6 black voters in the poll said they've considered not voting as a form of protest while protecting Palestine as one of their top reasons. The poll followed calls in February from African Methodist Episcopal Church. Said that wrong. Sorry about that. One of the oldest religions and civic institutions for black Americans, for an end of all financial aid to Israel. Quentin Cross, senior policy advisor at the New York-based racial justice organization Hudson Catskill Housing Coalition, said many black Americans identify closely with the struggle of Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank. This is the subtle life that we live every day, Cross said. Whether it's police violence, government attack, or just general disregard for black lives, we can relate. But oh no, Biden's losing black voters. Why, Biden? Why? And again, Biden could win back key voters with ceasefire conditioning and conditioning Israeli aid. Also, polling results released Tuesday offer U.S. President Joe Biden's campaign even more evidence that his support for Israel's assault on the Gaza Strip, which critics around the world have condemned as genocidal and a crime against humanity, is politically fraught, especially given the stakes this election year. Now, look, shout out again to Common Dreams, but Biden's not going to listen. You think him halting that military aid to Israel? No. All those Republican lawmakers panicking, don't worry. Biden was able to do it under the table in more ways than one because he's perfected the class act of being a sex worker for big lobby groups. That's what all these politicians are. They know how to twerk. They know how to twerk for that money. Hey, strippers and OnlyFans girls, you might want to take some notes from these politicians. They're really, really, really good. They're raking in that dough. As Israel's decimated the Palestinian enclave since Hamas led the October 7th attack, polls and political observers suggested that the Democrat support for the war risks losing votes. He needs to beat the former Republican President Donald Trump. The new poll commissioned by Americans for Justice in Palestine, which lobbies for Palestinian rights, YouGov surveyed Democratic independent voters in 5 swing states. Biden won in 2020, Arizona, Michigan, Minnesota, the great state of Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. It's clear that Palestine is a critical issue in the key battleground states. And of course, it's not just passing a protest effort that the Democratic Party can continue to ignore. People want an end to this war, and a key margin of them will vote that way. But Biden can win over votes with serious change in policy, to which I have to say he is not going to do that. If you're expecting Joe Biden to change his ways because he cares about becoming president again, or if you think that he cares about what's happening to the people in Palestine, no, he does not. This is a man who does not care. Biden doesn't care. He's only interested in securing a vote so that way people will just go back to shutting up. That's what the Democratic Party wants you to do. But yet when you have Biden stuttering and stammering, does that present strength to you? To me, that shows me that Biden doesn't have what it takes. And that 1 11-second video, guess what? Vote blue no matter who. There's a whole treasure trove of videos of Biden stuttering and stammering, messing up, having moments where he looks senile and lost like a statue. You could have done better. Hell, Democrats, you should have done better. How can anyone take you seriously now when you have this old goat acting like that in front of the whole world to see? And I have to say this, Democrats, you've gotten lucky so far. Where Biden fully doesn't have like a senile moment where he's crying. You better hope he performs well during that debate against Donald Trump, if these debates do happen. Now, again, they're set and ready. CNN will host one and ABC will host one, and then that's it. But you better hope that he's trained or you have a cocktail strong enough to keep his brain coherent enough. But the American people, when they look at Biden speak, and especially the great coalition that you guys built in 2020, when all those people look at Joe Biden, they're not enthusiastic for him. They're embarrassed. And probably a lot of them feel regret they even voted for the clown, as they should, because Biden and the Democrats don't respect you, and they don't respect the policies, and they don't want to make our lives better. They just want us to shut up and vote for them. You don't have to fall for that trap.